All right, and we are in. How you doing today, Joe?
Good, good. How are you?
I'm very, very good. Thank you so much for swinging by. Now, can we get this? Can we clear this up right now? This is your very first podcast you've ever been a guest on.
It is.
Are you nervous at all?
Little bit. It's good to be a bit nervous, right? Keeps
Yeah.
you on edge.
Keeps you on edge, but don't worry, this is completely relaxing. All we do is just talk, and there's no real agenda. So we just have fun, and I get to learn about you.
I look forward to it. When it comes to fitness, I can talk nonstop. So once we start talking, I won't.
So, I mean, you're a fitness professional. So are you like, you have your own gym? You're a personal trainer as well. Is that the field of business that you're in?
This is the recent field of business I've been in.
Okay.
I come from a corporate background in terms of career. So growing up, I followed two paths. One is professional athlete, competitive athlete path, and another was corporate. The competitive athlete part was more of a passion on the side, and for a career I relied on corporates, especially given the mentality of the society where I come from. So I had to take the corporate route until 2 years ago, where I took the decision just to drop it all out.
Just cut that shit out. And you can swear as much as you want, so don't worry.
Sure.
So 2 years ago, you gave up the corporate life and you put yourself 100% into your passion, which is physical fitness. Oh, amazing. Okay, so now let's go back a little. So where are you from originally?
So originally I was born and raised in Lebanon, in Beirut. I grew up there. I went to school there. I went to university there, American college. Once I graduated, I moved to Dubai.
Mm-hmm.
And in Dubai is where I started my corporate career. I worked with companies such as Reckitt Benckiser, Clorox, the American bleach company. Then I moved to Louis Vuitton. I worked as an executive for them for 4 years. At the same time, as I mentioned before, all while having my corporate career on the side, I competed in different disciplines. Started in swimming and judo, then I moved to kickboxing, to boxing, powerlifting, strongman. It was always my passion, but it was always a side thing to me. Then in 2019, I met a relative in Lebanon who was visiting Lebanon from LA for the first time, and he was building this big company in California that he wanted to take public, and he offered me to move here and help him with it. I said yes. I moved here 2019, lived in LA. I worked with him for 2000 until 2022 for 3 years, and it was a good job, but it was extremely demanding and not in an industry I particularly love or passionate about. So it was really demanding. I stopped working out. I stopped eating well. I neglected my physical health, my nutrition, and all of it. So 3 years down the line, got into a burnout. Found out my wife was pregnant with our boy. Questioned all my life choices. What am I doing? What type of example do I want to set to my boy? Like, I'm still young. Like, I'm not supposed to feel the way I was feeling. I decided a day I dropped it all out. I started from scratch. Started as a personal trainer. At the time, I was living in Victorville. I started by driving from Victorville to LA on a daily basis, sometimes for just one client.
Mm-hmm.
Then business grew. I loved it even more. My clients loved it. And after a year and a half of going to people's houses, I wanted to be able to serve more people, but it's only limited when you go to people. So that's when I decided to open my own gym.
Mm-hmm.
And I finally opened Thrive in April of this year, in March of this year, and it's been going great since. And
That's good. Well, you look happy. So I mean, if you have a smile like you're doing something right, right?
True. I mean, if you're obsessed with fitness and you get to live in a gym, you can't really complain. Like when I was young, I never really meant it, but always I used to think like, oh, I wish I could live in a gym. Now I literally do. Like sometimes I have to sleep there, but I love it. I love it.
That's good. That's great. So, okay, let's go way back. So what was it like growing up in Beirut? Because like I've never been to Lebanon. I've never been to Beirut. I've spent a lot of time in the Middle East. I actually lived in Dubai for a little bit. We can talk about that in a little while, but I've never been to Lebanon. I've never been to Beirut. And I heard like 20, 30 years ago, it was amazing.
Yeah.
And now it's completely a mess. So So, like, when were you born there? Like, what was it like when you were there?
So I was born in '89 in Beirut, and it was crazy. It was in the middle of the civil war. So basically, I was born and head straight to the bomb shelter, and this is where I spent most of my first years. So that
Now,
gives
now,
you
we're-
a bit
now
of
we're
an idea.
now we're getting into it. Now we're getting into it.
Yeah.
Okay, so you were born in the middle of a civil war.
Yeah, exactly. And they had to rush under missiles to get me to a bomb shelter and to carry this. So this is what it was. But this war ended in '91, and then over the next, I would say, 20 years, the country was growing. It's a good place to be. People are super friendly, super hospitable. You have amazing weather, amazing nightlife, delicious food.
Mm.
People are really social, really outgoing. So like the lifestyle is quite different from here. In a sense where people literally go out every day. You have people in your house every day. You're in restaurants every day, in bars, nightclub. Like it doesn't stop. Like people like to live because it's a country that spent so many years in war. So like it's people live like as if every day is your last day. That's kind of the mentality in Lebanon.
That sounds fun.
It's fun. It is fun. It's absolutely fun, and I had my share of fun.
Hmm.
When it comes to fitness, though, like people are so focused on just entertainment.
Mhm.
They're now recently it's starting to get there, but it's not a country that really emphasizes fitness.
I think if you're gonna start, this is my personal opinion. It's really hard to focus on your fitness when you're worried about your personal safety.
That's true.
Yeah,
That's true.
and I feel like fitness is like a luxury. Like, once you have enough to eat, once you have a roof over your head, and once you're not in a civil war, then it's like, okay, I can go to the gym again. But like once all of your basic needs are met, I think then focusing on fitness is quite easy. But it must have been really difficult like for those first few years growing up with all that chaos around you.
Yeah, it was difficult, and to your point, you're absolutely right. However, in Lebanon, it's a bit more than that when it comes to fitness. It's so where I grew up, the entourage where I grew up in Beirut, like even though it's not the most advanced country, but people are quite wealthy there and they can really afford the gym. But what I think it's more of a lack of education. And the whole focus growing up is like, hey, go to the best school, go to the best university, get the highest position at the biggest company. It's not really the mentality of, hey, what's your passion? Follow your passion, whether it's fitness. I was being called sick and obsessed for going to the gym every day. And you get judged, like, and the people who criticize you for going to the gym, they do so like, and they're really like unhealthy people, and they tell you how unhealthy it is to train that much. So it was a bit funny growing up, a bit of a challenge, but it's quite different. Now I live in Orange County, like everybody is so much into fitness. They really understand the importance of it. And
It's nice. It's nice. So, at what stage when you were living in Beirut in Lebanon, like at what stage did you decide like it was time to leave home, like leave your country and choose a path? Like you said, you moved to Dubai and you had a corporate life. Like when because I left Canada when I was 22. Like I was born in Canada.
Okay.
We did not have a civil war. It was pretty safe and pretty easy. But I left when I was 22. So I'm curious, like, how old were you when you left Lebanon, and how hard was that?
So I graduated from university at the age of 21, and I moved out of Lebanon at 22, so a year after graduation, and I moved to Dubai. Like, so initially, again, I wanted to follow a corporate career, and Lebanon has opportunities, but not as much as Dubai, as you know. Like all the multinational companies in the Middle East, maybe 80 to 90% of them, I would guess, have their headquarters based in Dubai. So since I graduated, again, since I wanted to take the corporate route, I had my eyes on Dubai. So I joined a company that had headquarters in Dubai. I started with them in Lebanon at 21, and I moved there at 22.
Oh.
Now, it wasn't hard at all. Actually, I really loved this move because it was still very close to Dubai. So in a sense where I was traveling home every month, and my parents were coming every other month as well.
Yeah, it's it's only like a 1 hour flight from Dubai to Beirut, isn't it?
3 hours.
Oh,
A 3 hour
okay.
flight, yeah. But, I mean, it's less than, like, from America to America, sometimes you spend 7 hours in a plane. So,
Yeah. You can from Orange County to Beverly Hills, you can do 3 hours some days.
exactly. To get there.
I'm sorry. But I mean, what was it like leaving Lebanon for the first time? I mean, it was nice that you had your family close by, but the way, like I lived in Dubai for a few years, like the way things are done in Dubai must be very different from Beirut.
You know, they're definitely different, but as you must have seen, there's a lot of Lebanese people in Dubai. So
Oh, everywhere, yeah.
yeah, you see them everywhere there. So I went there. I had friends. I had my group of people. I had some relatives. So I was lucky. The transition was a bit easy for me. But what made it easier that Dubai is much bigger in sports than Lebanon.
Mm-hmm.
So as soon as I get there, and I was competing in kickboxing at the time, like it was much bigger than it was in Lebanon. So for me, like this was it all for me. Like okay, I get to grow to climb the corporate ladder while really like enjoying my athletics on the side. Like Dubai provides a lot of opportunities. You have a lot of international athletes. As you know, the diversity is so high. So for each sport, like you have countries that specialize in sport. So you learn a lot when it comes to this. It made it easy, and that's what made me love it at first. I was able to follow both, something I couldn't do.
Yeah, for me, when I was living in Dubai, I was working out in Business Bay at the UFC gym.
Okay.
And my boxing coach, I was doing boxing at the time a lot, and my boxing coach was from Lebanon. Because I feel like all the kickboxing and boxing coaches in Dubai are from Lebanon.
Quite a few. Quite a few.
Yeah. So where did you live when you moved to Dubai?
Lived quite a few places. I first lived in Marina. I moved to JLT. Then I moved, there's an area that was called the Villa, which is maybe like 15 minutes inland from Business Bay. It's like compound area. And then I moved to downtown.
Okay. and all while pursuing your corporate career.
Yes,
Yeah.
correct.
And I mean, what was it like living in Dubai for 12 months a year and working for, you mentioned Louis Vuitton, you mentioned a few other companies. Like, did you enjoy the life there?
So what I really loved about Dubai, so in terms of life there, if you look at it, the great things, it's clean, it's safe, small, it's kind of easy to get places, but after a while you feel some things may be a bit superficial sometimes, not enough, like
just a little bit superficial.
that's to be nice and positive. However, what made it really enjoyable is that, as you know, like the airport's so well connected, so easy to travel, like to countries like almost every continent. You have daily flights everywhere you can think of. So I made my 8 years there easy by traveling every other month, like to Europe, to Asia, to like other countries in the Middle East. So the traveling made it really enjoyable.
That's why I moved there, because I was making global television. Like I was filming on 5 continents, so I was traveling like every week somewhere, and yeah, the airline and the airport were effortless. So I was a resident. I lived in Dubai, but I was almost never there because I was always filming. Yeah,
That's the best way to experience Dubai.
I think so. Because like right now it's 50 degrees Celsius in Dubai, right? It's like 120 degrees Fahrenheit. It's crazy.
with 100% humidity as well. Poor guys.
Yeah. And it's nice. You're the first podcast guest I've had who actually lived in Dubai at some stage, so it's nice to reminisce a little bit.
How long ago did you live there?
So I became a resident of Dubai in 2018 when I was really, really busy making television, and then I moved to LA in last year November. So I've only been in LA for like 8 months.
Okay. And had you lived in LA before?
No, it was my first time, but I was going back and forth between Switzerland and Dubai for a few years, mostly during COVID.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. In 2018, we both lived together in Dubai then.
There you go.
At the same time. Maybe we crossed each other at UFC gym. Who knows?
Probably.
I trained there a few times. And
In Business Bay?
Yeah.
Oh, we probably definitely saw each other.
yeah.
Okay, so so you mentioned that you had a family member who was running a business in California, and they offered you a chance to leave Dubai and work for the family business. So, I mean, were you tired of Dubai? Like, was America always a place that you wanted to live? Like, what kind of got you out of Dubai?
So at the time, I had never contemplated a move to America, but I wasn't happy with my career. And at the time, my thinking was, I still didn't think that I could build a career in fitness, but I was thinking like, hey, like maybe it's because I'm an employee, I'm not enjoying it, I want to try to do something for myself. So by the time I met that cousin, I was contemplating going to Lebanon and starting a business there, or like growing the family business that we have in Lebanon. And this is when I met the relative, and the opportunity was presented to me to be more of a partner instead of an employee. And I thought that this would fix it for me. Like, oh, I'm not happy because I'm an employee. Maybe if I have my own business, I'm managing my own. If I'm managing my own business, maybe I'll be happy. So that's what tempted me to move here.
Mm-hmm.
And it's after I moved, I discovered actually what I need to be happy is not being an employee or having my own business, just doing what I love. And I found this after.
Well, I'm glad you like most people go through life and they never figure out what makes them happy.
Yeah, that's right. And that's unfortunate.
And then to have the guts and the strength, right, to quit your day job and to put all your energy into your passion. Like so many people, that's so scary, isn't it? To quit your salary job, to quit your safety, and to kind of, It
is very scary, and especially that in Dubai, the comforts you live in Dubai, especially when you live with corporations, you don't have to worry about anything. Everything's paid for, and good money. You don't even worry about any expenses. And then same coming here, like it was a big company, so you get stuck in the corporate life. You get stuck in such good comfort where you don't have to worry about anything. That it's really hard to envision taking the risk.
Yeah. In English, we say it's like golden handcuffs. It's like you're handcuffed, but it's very nice. They're gold, right? Yeah.
True.
So what did your mom and dad do when you were young? Like what kind of businesses or what kind of lives did they have?
So my mom was a stay-at-home mom.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, I was her full-time job growing up. And I understand her, it is a full-time job, but and my dad runs a textile company.
Okay. So your dad was very busy in business, so you must have learned quite a lot from him as well.
Yeah, I so initially the plan was to actually go and work with him, take over the business. And as I mentioned, this was in 2019, and I got really lucky that I didn't go through with it because, as you mentioned now, like Lebanon is in a bad place because it's right after this that the economic crisis broke down in Lebanon. And just to sum it up, I don't know if you know, but basically like people that had their money in their bank, it's all gone, and the currency really devaluated. Like a dollar used to be the equivalent of 1,500 Lebanese pounds. Now it's the equivalent of, might be wrong, but 300,000 or 400,000. So like something ridiculous. How much?
That's crazy inflation.
Yes, all the money that you have. First, you can't access it. Then, if you can access it, you can't spend it. So this is right when I left and right before COVID started. So when I came here, I think a month or 2 months later, COVID started, and they shut down the embassy in Lebanon. So if I didn't come when I came, I would not have gotten my visa, and I would have never made it here. So I got really lucky, or I got lucky, or it was what's meant to be, or both. Who knows?
Can you imagine if you quit your job and set up your own gym in 2019? You would have gone bankrupt, right?
This shows you that really everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
And, you definitely have.
Because I know a lot of small gyms in LA, for example, like a lot of small gyms, they really struggled, and some went bankrupt during COVID. Yeah. So, I mean, what was it like, getting a work visa to come and live and work in the United States? Like you mentioned that it wasn't on your radar, like coming to the US was never something you really thought about.
Yeah.
But obviously the United States has an international reputation. A lot of people want to move here. So, was it something that you thought would be like really exciting? Like, holy cow, like California, it's, a beautiful place and it's sunny every day and everyone looks nice. Like, was that something that you were really excited about?
So now, if I go back after having seen and experienced living in California and in Orange County, I would have been super excited. At the time, I had visited once, and I was young back in 2013, and for me, it was okay. And the main thing is it's so far from like Lebanon. So like in the 5 years I've been here, I was only able to go back home once. This was the thing. But after I came, I'm like, oh, like I'm really happy I came. I was a bit hesitant at first. And especially when I got offered this job, the job here in California, I also had another offer with Pfizer in Istanbul.
Oh.
And this is right before they came out with the vaccine. So for me, it was like, I didn't know about the vaccine there, but it was a good opportunity. And then I came here, COVID happened, they came out with the vaccine. At first, I'm like, was this a mistake? I should have gone there. But then to your point that if I opened the gym in 2019, also if I accepted the Pfizer job, I would not have met my wife, I would not have had my son, I would not have made the move to fitness, I would not have had my own gym. So it all worked. And
Istanbul's a fun town.
a lot going on, a lot to do with.
So you remember in March 2020. So here's the thing. I was a resident of Dubai.
Okay.
I was a property owner, and I was a business owner, right?
Okay.
So
In Dubai.
yeah,
Okay.
in Dubai. And in March 2020, I was in Ethiopia filming a TV series, and then the world closed.
Oh, okay. It was your first time in Ethiopia.
But the funny thing was, is I wasn't allowed to go back to Dubai because I don't know if you remember these rules. In Dubai, they would only allow UAE passport holders to come back, not residents. So I was in Ethiopia and I couldn't go home to Dubai. So I ended up going to Istanbul because I was a Canadian passport holder and I could go back to Canada, but I don't have a home in Canada and I didn't want to like live in my brother's basement. So I went to Turkey because Turkey was open and I went to Istanbul. And the same day I landed in Turkey, March 19th, they closed the international borders for Turkey too.
The last.
Yeah. So then I ended up hanging out in Istanbul for 4 months, just waiting for COVID to be finished. And then when it finished, or when the summer break happened, and I was able to get into Europe and then do some filming and stuff. But yeah, it was very strange, some of the rules in Dubai.
Yes, I mean, during COVID and even outside of COVID, right, some rules are hard to explain.
So
especially like, for example, the months of Ramadan, like you can go to bars or clubs, you can drink, but no music. You don't know if you remember this. Like, there's some rules that like doesn't really make sense.
I remember in Ramadan when I first got to Dubai, I remember I would go past a Starbucks and they would have like a curtain over the Starbucks because they didn't want the people practicing Ramadan to look inside the Starbucks and see that it was still open and be tempted with food and drink, right? So I remember like in 2018, 2019, even in 2019, when I would go during Ramadan, like the restaurants would be open for the tourists and the non-Muslim people who weren't practicing Ramadan. But then you had all these curtains, and then by the end when I left, like there were no curtains. There was, no one was hiding. People were eating and drinking on the streets.
Pretty open, right? It's pretty open. Even when I worked there at the beginning, like during Ramadan, if we had to drink water or to have a snack at work, we had to go and hide somewhere just to have a sip of water. Now, I like from my friends that live there, it's pretty open and you don't really see this anymore.
Yeah, it's much more relaxed, I think. Yeah, it's interesting. So, I mean, this journey you've been on is brilliant. Like, you've come from Lebanon, you were working in Dubai, and then you ended up in California. So this job with your family member, it didn't fulfill you. You mentioned you were working really hard. You were super stressed. You weren't eating well. You weren't exercising, and you really like hit rock bottom. So walk me through this. Like, what about this career just killed you?
I'll open up. So it was a demanding career and something I didn't really like, but everything was new for me. I convinced myself I like it and I was pushing myself. But again, so when you're not happy, sometimes your behavior change without you knowing why. But for some reason, I moved away from working out. I didn't really think of it. And then I went more into a partying lifestyle, unhealthy lifestyle.
So there's no one parties in LA.
No one. I even lived in Victorville for a while, and even there I managed to party hard. So,
Yeah.
So let alone what happened in LA those 3 years. But I had a pretty bad lifestyle. So I wasn't happy at work, but I didn't really know it. So I would compensate by eating shit, drinking shit, smoking shit. Pardon my French. You said we could swear, right?
You can do whatever you want on this podcast.
So after doing this for 3 to 4 years, I hit a complete crash. I had like some mental health issues.
Mm-hmm.
I crashed. My mental health crashed. My physical health crashed. So in terms of mental health, I got diagnosed with like severe depression, some bipolar disorder as well, as a result of bad sleep, bad food, no exercise, and not being fulfilled. And my physical health at the time, even my doctor told me I was a walking miracle. Like when he looked at my results, he's like, those are the results of I shouldn't be walking here. So the first thing that I did, I was prescribed medications and even my therapist gave me SSRIs, but I don't know what clicked when I received them. I looked at the box and I just didn't open it. I'm like, I want to try to fix this my own way. I found a wellness retreat in San Diego, in Carlsbad, at the time. And I went there for 10 days. And after not working out for years, not eating well for years, like, you know how it is over there, you're training every day, you're eating. I felt so fucking good. And I remember how much I loved this.
Yeah.
And I went in there a mess. I came out a transformed person.
That's amazing. It's wonderful that that you recognize. I mean, it was 3 years of your life that you lost, but I mean, it could have been 10.
It could have been. I mean, I was the bridge of losing all my life.
Yeah.
And still they were bad. I do not regret them, because during those 3 years, if I didn't go through hell, I would not have had like the realization that, hey, something needs to change. I would have stayed okay. I'm okay with my life. I'm not really happy, and I would have lived until I'm 70, got into my deathbed, regretted not having done something courageous, and that's it.
Yeah.
And at the time when I came out, also when I found out that my wife was pregnant, so I started thinking a bit differently. Like before, I never really used to think of what's your purpose in life, of what you're really good at, what legacy do you want to leave, what example you want to set for your children. So all of this was happening at the same time, and I started thinking of it that way. And I just saw, like, first of all, like, I really love fitness. And then I saw, like, I remembered, like, only 10 days and solved problems that, like, it didn't completely solve them, but set me on the right track. Like, what can I do if I really get back into it? And how can I help people through this?
Mm-hmm.
And that's when it's all started happening for me. And I immediately, when I came out from the wellness retreat, I think I gave my notice. A few weeks later, I was out, and then I just, like, threw myself into the deep end. And that's when I told you I started driving at first from Victorville to Thousand Oaks every day. And I was happy. I was making 1/20th of the money maybe I used to make. And I was 20 times happy.
That's a great line? Like, yeah, you're taking a 1/20th pay cut, but being 20 times happier.
I mean, it's not comparable. It's not comparable.
It's funny though. Like, it's funny that I mean, are you still having mental health issues? Are you still on medication?
No, I never even taken the medication. So after I came out from the retreat, I continued living like in a healthy way. I continued seeing the therapist, but never touched the medicine. 2 to 3 months down the line, she told me, like, I think, like, there's, like, you're over it. Like, I don't see any symptoms of depression left. I don't see any symptoms of bipolar disorder. And she's like, I'm glad you didn't take the SSRIs. You don't need them. And I haven't felt depressed since.
Isn't that funny though, that, like, you know, you're having a mental health crisis and you're working too much and you're living unhealthy, and it's like, okay, now these pills are going to help you. But then it's like, no, just fucking change your lifestyle.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the main thing. Everything has a pill now.
Yeah.
And then you need a pill to counter the effects of that pill. But they still don't want to work out. Right? And you see this in fitness a lot. Like, we all know what the basics are, but people always want to look for something to mask it or for a shortcut. Like, address the root cause. And that's what I'm trying to raise awareness on. Like, you can address the root, and we all have those tools. Like, everybody can work. You don't need a gym to work out. You don't need a high salary to eat clean, right? So,
no, they basically give vegetables away for free at the grocery store. Like, if you want lettuce and broccoli and you know, and celery and all this stuff, it's dirt cheap.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And then people, like, go and compare the price. They look at organic. Like, hey, if you go from eating McDonald's to non-organic vegetables, that's still a huge step. Don't go and look at all the organic produce and say, oh, it's too expensive. You're eating McDonald's. Switch to non-organic. It's still better than McDonald's. You know, there's always ways to.
Yeah. But that's amazing, because I've always been, because, you know, like, I've had, in my career, in my life, I've had ups and downs, and there's been stages where I've been depressed or dealing with difficult issues, right? And it's amazing, like, how going back to physical fitness, going back to the gym, or for me specifically, going back out into nature, hiking, climbing, camping, sleeping outside, you know, going to bed with the sunset, waking up with the sunrise, like, these little things are my, like, life hacks for getting myself out of my, like, little lull or depression or whatever, right? And getting back in feeling more energetic, and you don't have to take a pill, I don't think. Like, you just have to figure out what your body's missing, and for you it's like the endorphins and the adrenaline.
True.
Yeah.
Exactly. Of course. And like you said, like part of my journey of recovery, there was a lot as well. It wasn't only fitness. It's more, I look at it more if talking about it like holistic fitness or holistic wellness, but definitely at the beginning, being in nature helped me so much. My wife was pregnant first, and then we would go on those like crazy hikes, but just to spend time in nature, getting enough sun helped a lot. Before this, I would go to bed so late and then wake up late, not sleeping enough, just fixing my sleep, like you said, going to bed right after sunset, waking up with the sun, getting sun in the morning. Those things add up, and I like, unless there's few extreme cases, I'm not doctor or therapist to talk about it, but I believe from what I've seen from experience, most people will benefit more from this than they would.
Yeah. I think so too. I'm not a doctor either, by the way. Yeah.
Again, I don't want someone to have terrible case of something extreme and then listen to me and ditch their pills. But for most people and for almost everybody I know that had those issues, they always feel better from fixing their lifestyle than they ever did from taking prescription.
I think that's interesting. And I think, you know what? I think after COVID, I think COVID was like a reset for all of us, or for a lot of us. And I feel like now, as we're kind of getting out of COVID, people are starting to look at their mental health and their physical health more holistically, right? Like, what am I eating? Am I sleeping enough? Am I spending enough time outside? Am I working too much? Like, am I getting to bed early? Like, am I not staring at my phone in bed for an hour before I try to sleep? Like all this kind of like sleep etiquette and getting out in nature and exercising enough. Like, these steps, I think any responsible doctor should offer these steps before prescribing pills. Because I think, like you said, there's a pill for everything now, and that's fucking terrifying.
Yeah. That's true. There's a bit, exactly. And now you start seeing some doctors recommending this. Before, like, doctors would almost never speak about.
Well, there's no money in it.
There's no commission, right? And even their education, and this is from like some really reputable doctors that spoke about it. Like, even in their medical training and medical studies years ago, there was no course about nutrition. Like, nobody really emphasized nutrition, and most diseases can be solved just by fixing your food. But I'm very happy that, like you mentioned, the awareness of the past 3-4 years is really like it's going up really fast, and I think that's a great thing. It makes
I was speaking to a doctor about this the other day, actually, here on the podcast, and we kind of came to this conclusion that for some reason, like about 50 years ago, or maybe even a little earlier, medical science and natural science, you know, they people who went into those fields, they ended up becoming specialists. And when you study for 8 or 10 years in one field and you're a specialist, you know, you go very deep but not very wide. And sometimes you go so deep into an educational field that you don't learn how your field is connected to the next field or the next field or the next field. So what's happened is we have all these doctors and therapists and all these professionals around us who are very professional and who studied for years, but they don't know how other disciplines interact with their field. So they only know like what to do if you're depressed, and this is what, you know, but they don't see it from like a 360-degree view. And I really feel like it's a huge disservice for the educational facilities that we have now to not be teaching a more holistic approach to solving the problems that we all have living in our society. And I just feel like therapists should also be experts in nutrition and sleep and exercise, because like you said, most of these problems can be solved with sleeping and nutrition and exercise. And I just
I love that you listed them in the best order. Even though I'm a fitness guy, I suppose to defend sleep is number one, and no one talks about it enough. You can prevent most diseases with sleep. You can solve most mental issues with sleep, and it's the simplest, and it's for free. But people will go and pay $100,000 for a PMF mat to get grounding materials, but they won't fix their sleep, or like they won't ditch the phone before bed, like you said, or they won't go bed on time and wake up same time every day. And like it's so easy, but it doesn't sell. It's not sexy. It's not as sexy as a magic pill. It's not as profitable as a new drug that promises this and that. But people here, they're realizing this, especially like you said, after COVID, people like started reading more about health, trying more. People who didn't really work out, had nothing to do, they did start working out and they felt the difference. Like it's foolproof. Take any person who doesn't work out, have them work out. Nobody's going to tell you after a month they don't feel better. So the more people, I mean, I can only be hopeful on the future, for the future, that it's going to keep getting better and better, because again, I believe that everybody who goes from not working out to working out will love it. Everybody who goes from not sleeping well to sleeping well will see a massive difference. Everybody who goes from eating shit to eating mostly whole unprocessed foods are going to feel amazing and they won't want to go back. So it's only going to get better.
I hope so. But once a month, maybe a pizza.
Once.
Pizza is my absolute weakness. And there's a place like 2 blocks from here on Santa Monica. It has like the best pizza. I go there maybe like twice a week.
You're going to tell me where it is. I'm going to stop by on my way home.
Absolutely.
Everything in moderation, right? I like to always follow the 80-20 rule. Like at the end of the day, we're not machines. We still want to have a social life. We still want to, but pay your dues first, right? Like you want to eat pizza, fine, but pay your dues. Exercise, eat well most of the time, and then when you have your pizza, knock yourself out and have ice cream after. Enjoy it, right? But as long as you're paying your dues and doing the basics.
Yeah. So what's your sleeping routine? I'm curious because you seem to have you seem to have grasped this idea of how you need to act in order to live healthy. So what's your sleeping hack?
So sleeping hack, I would say I used to have really bad sleep. Something that really helped my sleep. First thing is going to bed earlier and waking up.
First thing is quitting your fucking job.
Yeah.
Once you quit your job, you're going to sleep so much better.
Very true. But yeah, first thing I would say, go back, go to sleep somewhere around 10, wake up somewhere around 6, try to go to sleep same time every day and waking up same time more or less. Another thing, try to avoid screen time 1 to 2 hours before bed, whether it's phone, whether it's TV. Avoid eating a heavy meal right before bed. Ideally, you want to have your last meal somewhere, depending on your metabolism, but somewhere around 2 hours seems to work well for most people. What else really helps with sleep? Another thing that really helps with sleep as well is before falling asleep, you want to try to drop the temperature down a couple of degrees. I find that this really helps. Like even if I'm not hot, I would still put the AC and it helps me fall asleep faster. Make sure that the room is really dark and make sure that you have some airflow in the room. That's something that's a bit overlooked. But with all the carbon dioxide you exhale during sleep, you want to have something open or some sort of air circulation. It really helps with sleep quality. Now, you don't have, if you're not doing any of these, don't feel overwhelmed. Just do one of these and you'll feel a difference. And after feeling the difference, you're going to want to do the second one. And so my advice to people is don't overwhelm yourself. Oh, I have to do all of this. Just pick one. Stick to it for a week. If you don't feel good, then pick a second the next week. Before you know it, you're doing all of them and you feel much better.
I had, I lived in Shanghai, China for 18 years. Yeah, it was a wild ride. And,
that's great. 18 years there. I did my MBA there.
You were in Shanghai too?
Yeah. I mean, not for too long. I did an MBA program, and part of the program had me be in Shanghai for.
Okay. Where did you live? Do you remember?
I remember.
Was it in Puxi or Pudong? East.
Which one?
The
rises with where the Grand Hyatt is.
Oh, that's Pudong.
So I stayed in Pudong, and then the university was in the other area.
In Puxi. Yeah. So do you remember the Portaman Ritz-Carlton? Did you ever go there? The Ritz-Carlton Hotel? No? Okay, I lived near there. It was cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
It was. I don't know what it's like anymore. I haven't been back since 2019, and I'm kind of like hesitant to go back because I have so many great memories there. I had so many great friends there. I was married there for a while. Like, I just remember the city being so alive and so exciting, and there's like 30 million people. But I'm wondering if it's still like the same after COVID.
You haven't been since, and do you know anyone there?
My ex-wife is still there. We chat sometimes. I've had some friends go back for business and stuff, but so my friends my foreign friends, my American friends, when they go back, they say like there's no more foreigners there. Like everyone left during COVID, and the people aren't coming back the way they were. Like Shanghai in like Okay, for me, the golden years of Shanghai, in my experience, was like 2000. I arrived in 2001, so I'm a little older than you. But yeah, I was there from 2001 to 2018 or 2019 ish. But for me, the golden years were like 2005 to 2012, 13. That was when Shanghai was just wild and fun and free. And then when Xi Jinping took over and became the president of the president of China, and then he became like emperor for life because he named himself emperor for life. Normally they rotated every 8 years, the presidents. Then things really started to feel strange, and doing business and traveling around became a lot more difficult. And then eventually I left, and then COVID hit. So I was really lucky to get out before COVID. Yeah.
You miss it? Something? Would you consider going back or?
No, I feel like that part of my life's over. Yeah. I mean, it was a wonderful time. I had a great experience. I got to travel all through Tibet. I set a Guinness World Record for riding a motorcycle all the way around China. Yeah. And I made so many nice TV shows.
Together. I know what I'm hearing.
I've got stories.
How long did it take you to ride across China? And what type?
So I used a BMW F800 GS. And so the problem is I wanted to ride a motorcycle all the way around China, and I did it with my brother, and we made a TV show about it, so you can watch it on TV. Yeah, I'll send you some links after. But so we wanted to ride motorcycles all the way around China, so we knew it was going to be like around 18,000 kilometers, 20,000 kilometers. So it's like 12,000 miles, right?
Yeah.
And we didn't trust the Chinese motorcycle manufacturers. There were really we wanted to have like a dual sport bike because there would be a lot of off-road, and the roads would be quite bad in Tibet and places like that. So we thought like, okay, dual sport bike. But the Chinese companies that made the dual sport bikes were really not great. And then and at that time in 2010, there were only two foreign companies that could import motorcycles, Harley Davidson and BMW. And the Harley Davidson, at that time, they didn't have a dual sport motorcycle. They only had the lowriders, right? The cruisers. But that was the wrong bike for that trip.
That's where the off-road.
Yeah. So we ended up on the BMWs, and we did it in 65 days, and it ended up being just over 18,000 kilometers. Yeah. And it was a 6-part TV series. Yeah.
And you literally covered all of China.
Yeah, we started 18,000. Yeah. So we started in Shanghai, and then we went up to the border with China and North Korea, and then we went all the way west to the border of China and Pakistan, and then we went down to Mount Kailash in Tibet, then to Mount Everest, then to Lhasa, and then to Yunnan, out to Shenzhen, Guangzhou, and then back up to Shanghai. Yeah.
65 days of just riding across the country.
It was pretty epic. Do you like motorcycles?
I ride a Harley, a cruiser, a road king. I haven't gone on such a ride yet.
Yeah. I've heard that having a motorcycle in LA is the best way to beat the traffic because you can lane split.
In LA? Yeah. It's I mean, yeah, it's good to lane split. It also drives you a bit crazy, and it's people like the way they drive, like you don't feel the safest on a motorcycle in LA, but
no.
But I still, always great to lane split. When I used to drive from Victorville down to LA, whenever I took the car, when I was going personal training people in their houses, whenever I took my car, it would take me like 3 hours and a half, 3 hours. On the bike, it take me 2 hours, 2 hours, 10 minutes. Like, it's a big difference. If you take an hour and a half each way, the 3 hours a day that you gain. And
I can't believe you were commuting 3 hours a day just to train like a handful of people every day. That must have been just so frustrating.
Yeah. I mean, I knew I had to eat mud when you start, and I was happy to do it. I don't know if I could do it again now, but I knew that I had to do it. And yes, I would even do it at a loss at first. Like my first clients, I would drive down from Victorville to downtown LA, $45 an hour, and drive back, where you need gas, $80, $90.
Oh, so you're losing money for the first
to do it, and time, but I believe as long as you do something, you do it from your heart, and then you love it, you don't have to worry much. Things kind of fall in place eventually.
I think if you do things you really love, people recognize it.
Yeah.
And then people gravitate towards you. Like, I feel like you give off this kind of energy and people want to be part of it.
You're putting it in a great way, actually. It's I mean, that's exactly it. And that's what I've been experiencing. Like, just being and loving it. People see it and feel it, and you attract the type of people without consciously trying to do it, but you attract the people that see it in you and that like this. And
it's a different way. It's a different way of thinking about it, because like if you're an entrepreneur, I mean, you have to love what you're doing because you just chose to start a business to do that, right? So if you're an entrepreneur and you're not loving your business, then you chose the wrong fucking thing to do. But if you do love it, then I really do think like people recognize it and then they want to be a part of your like ecosystem, and then more people come in and you just keep spreading the love. Yeah.
I mean, that's very well said. And not only did what I've been experiencing as well, and that's one of the things when I hear it makes me the happiest. I think when you love something that much, so I've been able to work with people who really hated working out, and now they say they're obsessed. So passion really rubs off. Like sometimes when you have passion, so this is one of my biggest pride when I see like someone who didn't love working out, like, hey, like I'm obsessed with working right now, and that's all I want. I want people to love fitness and to love working out, because it's not that terrible of a thing. It's fun. It's accessible. It's not that complicated.
So you went to this fitness retreat or this health retreat in Carlsbad, and while you were there, you quit your job and you went on this retreat to kind of find yourself again. So that was a 10-day experience.
Yeah.
So, I mean, walk me through the first 2 or 3 days of going on this retreat and eating healthier, sleeping healthier, and exercising. Like, what was that realization like? Like, did you feel like, holy fuck, I just wasted 3 years of my life, doing this business? Or did you feel like, okay, the last 3 years was like a lesson, and now this is my new path?
It's a bit more nuanced than this. So at first, eventually, it's what you said, but at first it was more of the shock. So going from corporate, again, a life where I was literally working 7 days a week, midnight, 1 a.m., 100-hour weeks easily every week. So this was my life. I was so deep. And then I went to this wellness routine, and going back to exercise and to all of it, the first 2-3 days, I'm like, this is heaven. But at the same time, I'm like, hey, like, don't be an idiot. Don't get attached to this, because life's going to happen. You're going to leave and go back to your job. You can't live here all your life. And things are new. You don't really think like, hey, I want to change my career direction. First, it's like, I love it, but don't get too attached, because after you're out of here in a week, you're going to go back to your life. But after being there a few days, I really didn't want to go back. So this pushed me to start, okay, what can I do to have this? And the first thing that I did is I applied to the retreat to work there.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, I'm like, so this took me a few days, but as soon as I left, I applied to the retreats, and I'm like, okay, I'm just going to leave being a COO and go work a $30 an hour job, and I would do so happily. And then I started thinking, okay, more and more, all right, so there's something from this. And
so did the family member, I think you mentioned it was your uncle, right? Did you?
It was a distant relative.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did he or she, you didn't mention the gender, but like, did he or she recognize that you were burning out and living this horrible lifestyle, or did they just want you to do the business and want to make as much money? Like, because like if I was running a business and I saw one of my family members working for me, burning out, living unhealthy, and then you went away on this retreat and then you came back shiny and new, I would be like, like, how do we, I don't want to lose you. Like, you're great for my business, right? You were a COO. So like, I don't want to lose you. So how can we find a better work-life balance? Like, was that ever a conversation?
So this would have been a great conversation.
It would have been a good place to
be. It didn't happen.
Oh, really?
Because if it happened, I would have stayed.
But maybe you could have stayed and had enough time and restructured your work so that maybe you weren't a personal trainer, but maybe you could train better, sleep better, and still.
I won't own my own gym. I will still be an employee. I will still be in an industry I don't love. I won't have a purpose. I won't be driven like I am now.
Yeah.
So the funny thing, to go back a little bit, so I completely burnt out at work. I had a horrible crash, so I completely crashed. And it was my relative, he sent me to this wedding.
Oh, well, that's nice.
Yes, he wanted to give me like break. He recognized that I was burnt out and overworked. he sent me there. But the nature of the business, to give you an example, while I was there, I would be getting non-stop phone calls. I need this, I need that, I need this. So I had my laptop there and having to work from there. So when I went out, as soon as I went out, like the next day, I was expected to go back to the way things were. And then like they didn't give as much consideration to this. And I'm happy that it happened because it pushed me even more to do what I wanted to do. And
But you have to think, like, so many people out there listening to this, maybe, like, they're so afraid to quit their jobs. Like, they're so afraid to make a change in their life because making a change, it costs too much. Like, you know, maybe first of all, you'll lose your job, you'll lose money. Getting another job in this economy can be quite difficult. Maybe you'll have to move because you can't afford to stay where you are anymore. Like, there's a huge amount of cost to making a brave change like you made. Did you feel any of those negative possible outcomes, or were you only thinking positivity?
I mean, I wish I was only thinking positivity. I think it's unrealistic. I was scared as shit. I'm still scared as shit, but I think it's very rewarding, right? So for me to do this and to build this gym, like, I was making very good income, but because I wasn't happy, I was spending a lot. So I finished corporate, not with much saving. So I owned my house in Victorville. To open the gym, I sold my house, I sold my cars, I sold my watch, and my bank account, there's one day where my bank account went down to $42.
Wow.
So I was living a life. So before this, when I first moved here, the first year I lived at the Ritz-Carlton in downtown LA. I had cars, I had you name it. And then I went to having $42 in my bank account. McDonald's order got declined. That's where it got. But what I want to say on this, that you've interviewed a lot of successful people, you've traveled all over the world. Nobody did something like this not being scared. So what I would say on this is nobody should let fear stop them, because nobody doesn't feel fear going this. It's normal. It doesn't mean that you have to stop. On the opposite, fear is a good thing, because fear is what pushes you. And when you put yourself in tight spots, you're capable of doing things that you never thought possible. Like, I have a wife, I have a son. My bank account goes down to $42. I'm going to do things I would never have dared done before. I would be creative in ways I was never before. Like, again, nobody dies from hunger. So if someone's successful at a corporate job and they want to try to take a risk, what makes them think that they're going to, what's the worst that's going to happen? What's the worst that could happen, right? And that's one thing. And again, fear is normal. It drives you.
Yep.
It makes sure that you're on edge. And then that's one lesson I really learned. So there's the saying, I think it's Alex Hormozy that says, I don't know who said it, but success lies in the tasks that you avoid doing. And as long as you're in comfort zone, you don't do them. But as soon as you're scared, you run head first into those tasks, and those things make you grow. So,
oh, that's interesting. That's very smart. Yeah, no, the success lies in the tasks that you avoid. That's fucking brilliant.
And as long as you're secure, you have no reason to do those tasks, even though at the back of your head, you know, if I do this, I'm going to succeed. Once you throw yourself in the deep end, you're like, I have no choice but to fucking do these things. And that's when you start growing personally, professionally.
So you are like the definition of a man who got out of his comfort zone and really tested the waters in the entrepreneurial world, and you took it to the fucking limit.
Yeah, true.
That's awesome, man. And okay, so you get out of the retreat, you go straight back to work, you're fucking miserable again, and you're like, okay, I'm done. So how long did it take you from quitting your day job, your corporate job, to starting to train people privately? And did you need any qualifications for this, or were you able to just start right away?
I started right away. So, I'm sorry, what was the first question?
So how long between quitting your corporate job and realizing that you wanted to train people? Because like for me, for example, I love working out too. I work out a few times a week. I try to eat healthy. I try to sleep well. And if I was in a corporate environment like that and I quit, I would probably just want to take care of myself.
Yeah.
I wouldn't start thinking like, oh, I need to teach other people how to stay healthy or stay fit. Like I would be more selfish maybe. I would just manage my own problems. But you seem like you have this great passion to help other people and to train other people. So I'm trying to figure out, like, when did you go from quitting corporate to actually helping other people and training other people?
So I quit corporate in October. In November, I was already training people. And when I quit in October, I had no idea that I wanted to be a personal trainer. I'm like, I can't do this anymore. Like,
Yeah.
I've been on both ends. So I lived the life in Dubai. Even though I was an employee, I was kind of thriving because I was competing like in a variety of sports. I was always healthy. So I lived the life this way, and I lived a life those 3 years. And I knew for a fact that I'm willing to accept anything, but I don't want to go back to the way I was living those 3 years. So I didn't first really know I wanted to do this. I'm like, okay, so my thing, what I want to do, I want to live healthy myself. And then I'm going to try to do as many side jobs as I can. Like, I want to buy stuff and sell stuff. I'm going to set up an online store. I'm going to get into this. I'm going to get so many things happening. And then, you overwhelm yourself and you take a step back. Like, hey, wait, am I redoing the same mistake just under a different company name? And at the time, I hired a leadership coach who was a childhood friend of mine. We lost contact, and I hired him. And then he actually, I'm very blessed to have him. He kind of inspired me because he's a very smart guy. So he's a guy who graduated doing mechanical engineering mechanical engineering in the best, like in the American University of Beirut, which is a really prestigious university. He then went to Columbia in New York, got his master's and his MBA over there. And he did what I did, but long time ago. Instead of following his career, he started from scratch as a life coach, doing nothing. So speaking to him, he inspired me a lot. And I don't know if I had the balls to do it by myself, but he definitely pushed me to do it quick. And at first I did it not thinking there's a career after it. I thought, so it's just me being rebellious, and I didn't think my family would approve of it. My wife was used to a certain lifestyle, and I knew I wouldn't be able to afford doing this. But something inside me kept pushing me, like, hey, let's just fucking do it. Just fucking do it. Just fucking do it. And it happened. At first, it was hard. I didn't really see a career out of it. I was making, $2,000 a month. And then at the time, I'm telling my coach, like, there's no way I'm going to be making over 5 over this. Then I'm making 5. I'm like, I don't see how I could get to 10. Then I got there. I would say that it's just trusting the process, and it developed naturally. Like, throw yourself in the deep end and let things happen. As long as you have the right intentions, the right mindset, I think humans are much more resilient than what they think.
That's really well said. That sounds like a TED Talk. It's interesting that you have this confidence in yourself to throw yourself off the deep end and just make it happen. Like, that scares the shit out of people.
I'd love to say it's confidence, take credit for it. I would say it's half confidence, half not delusion, but you have to be a little bit like. So confidence is throwing yourself in it and telling yourself, oh, I'm definitely going to make it. I threw myself in it not knowing what's going to happen, but I knew that I don't want to die not knowing. Like, that was my main thing. I didn't want to die not knowing, and I didn't want my son to be scared of doing what he loves when he grows up. So this gave me the strength to do it. Not the confidence of, oh, I'm good, I'm great, I'm going to be the best. Now I'm trying to get into this mentality, but at first I'm like, I have no other choice. That's what I love. I'm going to try it, and I don't care. And I was scared as hell. It's scary as fuck, but it's very rewarding.
Scary as fuck, but doing what you loved. I'm sure you were sleeping much better, even though your finances were a mess and your future was uncertain. I'm sure you still slept like a baby. Absolutely. It's fun.
Not only the sleeping with a baby. My relationship with my wife completely transformed. We used to fight very often. Now, she's my best friend. We're so close together. My relationship with my friends changed. My relationship with my family changed.
Sounds like all positive things. Yeah.
So the fear is a small price to pay compared to everything else that you get. That's why I always try to say, don't let fear paralyze. Fear is a good thing. It means you're doing something right.
It means you're doing something uncomfortable, right? Yes. Yeah.
That's what makes you grow.
It's true. You don't grow at all if you just stay in your comfort zone. Yeah. It's funny, everyone always tells you to stay in your lane, like, find one thing and just go and do it. But I love jumping around. I love trying different things, and you never know, when you're going to hit something you truly love. But if you don't try, you never know. And never knowing is way worse. Yeah.
There's a book that I read, I don't remember who wrote it, but someone who went and interviewed people on their deathbed. The biggest regret, what was it again? Yes, they asked them
on their deathbed what their biggest regrets were, or what are the things they wish they'd done differently.
Yeah, and I forgot the question, but their answer damn, I forgot.
It's okay. I think I've seen this too. It's these people on
the things that you didn't do, not the things that you did. That was the moral of it. So all of them, their regrets was they regretted not doing things, not regretted doing things.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So this made me think, like, I'm never going to regret trying and failing, but I'm definitely going to regret never knowing if I would have made it or not, and never trying.
Yeah. Not knowing, and not knowing if you could have done something.
It's much worse than doing it.
Yeah.
So this is the thing. The people on their deathbed regretted, all of them regretted things they didn't do, not things that they did.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be one of those. And you only get one life.
No, it makes good sense. And like when you don't follow your passion, and when you don't do things that you want to try, and then you put those things aside and you never really know, I feel like that not knowing leaves such a huge hole in your soul.
Yes,
yeah.
Absolutely.
And again, if you try and
over time, it makes you a little bit bitter. It makes you a little bit, I feel like, unfulfilled, and it rubs on the people around you.
Yeah, I think that unknowingness grows inside you, and it makes you kind of negative.
True.
Yeah. But then, of course, going after something you love and then failing can be really devastating also. But like you said, at least you know, right?
At least you know. And at least the next time you try, you have more experience and you try better. And then you try better. And every time you fail and try again, you're one step closer.
Mm-hmm.
Or the other way. Just stay and think, what if? I mean, you have two choices. You choose for sure you want to be a what if, or you want to try and then try again and then get closer every time.
It sounds like your friend, your life coach that you trusted to help you through this process really came through. I mean, what was his key advice that helped you?
His key advice is just to trust the process and then focus on the craft, basically. Don't worry how I'm going to pay for this. Just like when you start, go give value, help first, show people your passion, and then things will fall into place. I mean, now, he would tell me this, I would calm down, and then the second day I would freak out again, I'd be scared, but it took a while, but I really started seeing it like, just trust the process. If you're good at something, just focus at this one thing you're good at. You're good at filming documentaries, just focus on making good documentaries. You're good at painting, focus on doing the best painting, and don't worry too much how I'm going to do it, what I'm going to sell it for, how many paintings I have to draw every month, where I'm going to sell them, who's going to buy them. Just draw a fucking good painting. Put your heart into it. Trust in good things. Like, do it with good intentions. Do it for the right reason. If it's meant to happen, it's going to happen for you. And that's the biggest lesson I learned from him. I was very cynical, or like, I didn't really believe in this. Like, not cynical. I didn't really believe, how to put it, that I was very rational. So I needed to know everything in advance. Like what does it mean? Do good and things will happen. Like, who's going to make those things happen? Like, I need to make them happen. And then I learned that there's, I don't know if you want to call it a greater power. It is a greater power. Call it the universe, call it God, but you get closer to a certain force once you align with your values, once you align with your passion, once you really have a direction you're following, once you have kind of a noble value that's helping someone somehow. I believe that good things happen. I don't know yet if it's God, if it's universe, if it's karma. Everybody called it something, but I think it's a force that's common.
Yeah. It's like when people say they trust in the universe, right? Yeah. You just kind of, and again too, I think so much good comes into the world from people doing things that they just love to do without thinking monetarily how they'll make money from it in the future. And And I think that people, and I think that's that true passion that people connect with. Like, cause your energy, the energy you give out into the world is totally different when you do something for a job or a career that you truly love versus doing something that you hate.
Yeah, true. And doing it for a reason other than just making money from it as well, right?
Hmm.
Yeah,
Because I mean, obviously, you have a career, you're making money, but you're doing something you love, and then you're also helping other people live a better life.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes, true.
It's pretty powerful.
Yeah.
So how long were you doing one-on-one training for before you decided to open up your new gym?
So before I got into one-on-one training, I told you I used to compete a lot. So when I was in Dubai, I would work my corporate job. I would be at work around 8 a.m. until 5 p.m. But then every morning I would be at the gym 4:30 to 7:30 in the morning. I would be again at the gym 6:30.
Hold on. You were living in Dubai and you were going to the gym at 4:30 in the morning so you could train before going to work.
And then go again after work. But yeah, I'm obsessed with fitness. But at the time when I used to do this, I made a lot of friends in different gyms in Dubai, and they would all like train with me. So I wasn't really getting paid for it, but I trained a lot of people who would come and train with me and enjoy doing it. Then I started doing it professionally in 2022. I always forget if it's 21 and 22. 2022. Sorry, I started doing it professionally in 2022. I did it for a year. And then a year down the line, I got to a point where I had the number of clients that I had, I couldn't take any more clients because like I was working 12 to 15 hours a day, and then I would spend a lot of time driving client to client. So I started thinking like, how could I serve more people? So a year down the line is where I signed the lease. I took the spot and started working on the place, and then I just opened now. But yeah, it took me a year.
Wow.
And again, that year, when I first started as a personal trainer, I didn't think it's possible that I would have my own gym. But again, I had the coach who pushed me, like, just trust the process, something's going to happen. And it's like, it happened like a roller coaster. You don't realize it's happening. Like all of a sudden, I have a gym.
Is it scary being a personal trainer and working 12 to 15 hours a day doing one-on-one, but you have no overhead, right? Like you drive your car, you've got gas, and then time is time. But you know, you don't have rent, electrical, water, staff, like, you know, like, and you don't have to paint the place and put the workout, you know, all the tools in there. Like, I'm just curious, like, was your stress level increased significantly by having this overhead and this facility that you now have to fill with people? I mean, that for me is a huge issue. Like I make TV shows and I have people I work with all around the world, but we all kind of work from home, and then we all kind of come together to do things. So I've never had like an office or a physical space where we all had to come together and brainstorm and edit together and do production together. So I've always kept like everything very light on the overhead expenses. But opening up your own facility, like, that's got to be fucking stressful.
It's stressful. No, there's two answers to this question. The first, actually, that's a very good point you mentioned, but in my specific case, so before I opened the gym, I was much more scared than after I opened the gym. And the reason being, so we have, so as a family, we have X fixed expenses a month.
Mm-hmm.
Being a personal trainer, I got to maximal capacity, so I can't take on any more clients, but I'm still below my monthly expenses.
Mm-hmm.
So for the whole time I worked as a personal trainer, I was every month covering from my savings until they completely drained out. So I was much more scared because I'm like, okay, so I started as a personal trainer, I didn't have clients, then I got full, then I increased my prices, and I still can't pay my expenses. My savings are about to end in 2 to 3 months, and what can I do? Did I choose the wrong path? There's no future from this. Personal trainer is just for young people starting to make some extra money, but there's no money. What did I do? So I had this fear. Now that I opened the gym, this fear is gone because there's no upper limit, basically. You can always hire trainers, you can expand, but the career I had before, it was a realization, okay, I'm saturated, I can take on more clients, I'm still not paying my expenses. So opening the gym was a bit of a relief, but yeah, you do live with the stress month to month. Am I going to make rent this month? Am I going to make this? But at the end, like, there is a risk, but high risk, high reward.
It's interesting because, like, you know, whenever entrepreneurs talk about starting businesses and things like that, one of the things they always talk about is scalability, right? And the idea is that you have to get out of you doing all the work and you being like the only, yeah. So physical training and stuff like that is so difficult, and that's why so many personal trainers, they go onto YouTube and they monetize their YouTube, or they bring on brand partnerships and all this kind of stuff in order to manage it. But you kind of went the other way. You decided to go bricks and mortars and set up an actual physical fitness training center. So how many of your personal one-on-one clients now come to your fitness center?
So my clients, again, I was going all over the place. So I was going down from San Diego up to Thousand Oaks in LA. So there's a distance. My gym is in Costa Mesa, Orange County. So some of my clients are really far, are over an hour from the gym. But I got to 28 in-person clients. I have half of these that actually moved. Most of them drive up to an hour to get to the gym, and I'm blessed for that. But for me, it's a testament that I enjoyed the training. But I was able, I think, slightly less than half moved.
Okay. And how do you, sorry to interrupt, I mean, okay, you have the passion, right? And you've got the skills and you've got the love, like, but how do you fill a gym? Like, what kind of marketing do you have to do to bring in clients for? It's all word of mouth.
I never spent a cent on paid ads. I have my personal social media, but I just recently started, and I don't really rely on it. Like, really, I started with 2 clients, and then when I got from 2 to 27 clients, all of them were referrals.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So I would say, like, and that's one thing also to answer your previous question. Like, yes, if I was about to think like an entrepreneur, I would have gone online first. But if I had gone online, then I would be driven just by making money. I'm driven. I need to make money. I have a family. I want to live a good life, but I'm really driven by helping people. And online, when you're not with the person, there's only so much you can help them. And people see much, much better results in person. So I love doing what I do. Like, it's not practical to be training people. That's not something maybe I want to do all my life. But now with the clients I enjoy working with, I look forward to my sessions with them, and I feel I can help them much, much better. Online, like the coaches that train people online, they will have 100 clients the first month. Second month is down to 40. Then they have to sell another 60. So it's all a sales game, because no one sticks to, unless you're the person. So someone looking for a personal trainer, unless I'm with you, following up with you, training with you in person, it's hard to keep you committed on the long run. So that's why I decided the in-person routes. So now it's not scalable, but I'm working on a few projects to scale while still having the in-person interaction.
Mm-hmm.
It's for me, it's an important point to have.
That's amazing, though, that you haven't spent any money on marketing, because I feel like so for example, like, I set up this podcast, right? And the moment, you put on your social media or you put on LinkedIn or something like this that you run a podcast, you start to get just bombarded daily with. But I was like, oh, I can help you monetize your podcast, and I can help you get more podcast guests. And for this much a month as a coach, I can help you be your podcast coach.
Why don't you do it yourself?
Yeah.
The problem is you make 7 figures and they live in their mom's basement.
Yeah, it's funny. It's like, actually, I don't need anyone to tell me how to do this. Like, I'm just going to do it my way. Like, fuck everyone else.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm wondering, like, once you start a business like you started, were you just bombarded and inundated by people who wanted to charge you a monthly retainer to help you market your business and all this?
I was, and I fell for it. I paid over $13,000 for one of them.
Yeah. And what was that experience like?
Great experience, because now I can confidently say, like, to people, stay away from these scammers.
Yeah.
They're excellent. All of these people, like I said, they're excellent salespeople, right? But they're terrible at the.
It's because they're pushing the fear button. Because you know what? Like, this is. I started doing this quite a while ago, and for anyone out there, this might be helpful for you too. Whenever someone tries to sell me something based on fear, I walk away. Yeah.
Whenever you feel like it's a pitch that they're using, right? When I feel they're selling me like through a pitch, I'm like, all right, so like, hey, this and whenever, like you said, as well, like those two, sorry.
No worries. You okay?
Yeah. Just so those 2 points for me, it's a no.
Well, in this town, I mean, in LA, everyone's afraid, right? Like we're all like I'm in the entertainment business, right? So I'm like, when am I going to get my next job? When am I going to get another brand that wants to work with me or support me, right? So there's all this fear in this town about like, when am I going to work again? When am I going to get this? When am I going to get that? So I need to have a PR person. I need to have a publicist. I need to have this. I need to have that. And it just builds like, and there are all these people out there that just know how to push all those buttons. Yeah.
And even like the one I worked with, the first thing that they try teaching me is like, you have to find something that they're scared of and play on their pain points. I'm like, no, I don't want, I want to help them, not manipulate them. And they're only focused on how to sell, not how to coach properly. And I didn't really like this. And another like thing that they use, this is when I run away, they're like, oh, we only have 3 spots left, open for the next 2 days. Sign up today to get this. And then we're going to like, hey, if you're that desperate, you won't be cold messaging people. If you only have 3 spots left and you're selling out fast, you won't go and message people one by one that you're going to sell them. So that's another red flag for me when I get those service people.
I'm having so much fun blocking people on LinkedIn now.
But that's a full-time job.
It is pretty busy. But I also find a lot of my guests on LinkedIn, so I can't totally shit on LinkedIn, like, because I have a big network, and I've been able to connect with a lot of other media professionals who want to come on the podcast and talk about their creative life and stuff like that. So I've really appreciated that part of it. And you know, people don't pay me to be on the podcast. They give me their time. And I appreciate that a lot. But I hope like all these people out there are just trying to run businesses off people on like scaring people on LinkedIn. There's got to be a better way.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, it's weird. Like you won't expect it to work. But if they've been doing this for years and they're still doing it, like some people are falling for it.
Well, everyone out there is scared. Everyone out there running their own business is terrified. Yeah. And we're all looking for someone who's going to help us be more successful. But again, like I think you have to trust in the universe. You have to do something you love and you have to be patient.
And you have to trust yourself. Like, yeah. No one's going to help you more than yourself. At the end of the day, like.
So what's it like setting up your own physical fitness center? I mean, so what's your fitness center called? Thrive. And I mean, from renting the space to opening the doors to your first client, what the hell did you have to do and how long did that take?
Biggest challenge was getting permits from the city.
Oh, tell me about that. I never even thought about that. Is it hard to get permits?
I didn't think about that. So I signed my lease in January. So there's a permit called conditional use permit. You only need it if you're buying. So the place I took over used to be a supplement store and I'm turning it into fitness studios. I'm changing the use. There's a special permit for that. My real estate agent didn't tell me. The landlord didn't tell me. And no one told me. So I signed the lease in January and the rent's pretty expensive. And then, there's this permit you need to get. It's easy. Fine, I go to the city. Yeah, 5 to 6 months. Like, okay, so you're telling me I have to pay rent for 6 months without being able to operate.
Yeah. That seems like a bit shady. Your real estate agent should have known that.
Yeah, but I mean, he wants his commission, right? He did mention something about it, but he made it look like such a small thing. And this was my biggest challenge opening up. But I was going to the city every day. I make sure to talk to everyone. I let them know my situation. I let them know my story. I'm like, hey, like, I sold everything I have to put into this place. And if you're going to make me wait 6 months without paying rent, I'm going to close before I even open.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like I
didn't have enough in reserve to pay rent for 6 months.
No one does. Yeah.
And I kept going and going. And I think they saw like I was genuine about this. And a lady that worked there, and I got a little bit lucky. She was leaving her job and then she was traveling to a different state. So she was able to help me out, which she did. Usually you get your MCUP, the conditional use bureau, and then you can apply for your business license, and then you can start operations. She was able to give me my business license before I got my conditional use permit. So that's another way. Maybe it's the universe put her there for me, but it worked, and she helped me, and I was able to she saved me.
Yeah. But again, like you're doing something you love, you know, you seem like a very respectful, polite person. So you came with good energy and
She saw it. She's like, I know I are this for business owners. I can see how passionate you are. I can see that you're really doing this for people. I want to help you. And
how nice is it when someone from the government says that they actually want to help you?
Sure. And you know, this is also the difference in mindset. So me in corporate, if this happened to me, I would call, you're so slow, that's unacceptable. I'll be sending email. I'll be like getting mad at them. I won't think of like, hey, just go and open your heart to them. I would have been this person and nothing would have worked. And then maybe she would have made me wait even more.
Mm-hmm.
But once you align with everything, like, I don't know how to explain it. Things fall in place.
So how long did it take you to like renovate the space and put in all the equipment and then open up your doors to your clients?
Yeah.
Wow, that's terrifying.
It was fast, but I literally like maybe I would sleep most of the time. I was sleeping on the floor there. I wouldn't leave like for days, but I was excited doing it. Yeah, I did it pretty quick. So 3 months, I did full construction. I had to demolish the whole place. I had to rebuild it, redo the flooring, the walls, the ceilings, the paint, plumbing, build a few rooms, ordered a bunch of equipment, install I have over 20 machines that I installed by myself. This took weeks. It took exactly 3 months from January 20 and I was open March 15. And
that's amazing. Amazing. I think, cause not like everyone goes to the gym, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But no one knows how fucking hard it is to build the gym.
It's insanely hard. It's like one machine, basic small machine with take 3 days to assemble and just maintaining it. And yeah, it's hard work. It's not easy.
Mm-hmm.
It's not for everyone. It's for people who are obsessed with it.
And okay, so now you've got your gym. You've been through a hell of a journey. This is exciting, actually. So what is the philosophy of Thrive? Like, what are you trying to do with your gym that sets you apart from the other gyms in LA? Or what's your philosophy around getting people fit?
There's 3 main points I want to talk about when it comes here. The first point would be, so at first you told me like, you know, you need to be making good money in a good state to exercise. Not everybody can. First they need. So my mission is to make fitness accessible and enjoyable to everyone. So there's something that I do something called Sunday community workouts where I invite members and people to come train for free. But then the training is, I would take them one day to Newport Beach and then do a beach workout. One day I would bring them to the gym, but we'll be outside on the street doing a street workout. And we would do things, I would bring a sandbag and I would do a whole hour workout just doing things with this sandbag. Like, even though I have all the machines, but this is just a way to show them like, hey, like, you don't need a gym to work out. You can have fun working out and like, you don't need the best coach, just move.
Mm-hmm.
That's the first thing.
But hold on one second. Sorry to interrupt you. But you say that like you don't need a coach to work out. You can have fun to work out. But I also feel like you bring such great energy. Like, I want to work out with you. Like, you bring, like, you love it. And I can tell. Yeah. And you bring such great energy. I just feel like anytime anyone's around you, they're going to just be attracted to that great positivity that you have. Like,
thank you for that. And we can do a workout after the session if you want, after this. But yeah, to your point, I mean, if you can afford it, there's tremendous benefits of working with a coach, but some people can't afford it, or some people don't feel comfortable working with a coach. And it's those people, I'm like, whatever you do is better than not doing anything. Like, don't wait to be able to afford a coach. Don't wait to find a gym. Sit and stand 20 times a day this week. Next week, do it 22 times. The week after, 24 times. Grab fucking 2 gallons of water and go walk downstairs. Like, there's things like, just do push-ups. Start with 30 push-ups today and then add 1 push-up a day every day for the next year. You'll be doing 100 push-ups before you, like, there's different ways. So for me, when I say this, it's for people who can't really afford a coach. Don't use it as an excuse. Mm-hmm. Another thing that I'm trying to spread is my motto that I always say is train for performance, looks will follow. So the main thing with...
We do live in LA.
Yeah, like everybody wants to look. That's why I have looks will follow. But whenever I get a client, I'm like, do you want to look strong or do you want to be strong? Mm-hmm. So...
You know what I hate? You know what I hate about this town? Is people who... I go out for lunch, I meet people, and people are always like, oh, I'm trying to lose 10 pounds. I'm trying to lose 10 pounds. And I'm like, don't fucking try to lose 10 pounds. Put on 10 pounds of muscle. Because when you lose 10 pounds, you're probably losing a bit of fat, but you're probably losing more muscle. So like, and you'll probably look better with 20 pounds more muscle than you would if you lost 10 pounds. Like people, I really think it really bothers me that this exists in society. And I think that someone up there is doing this on purpose, because people are attaching weight to looks, but actually body image and looking in the mirror and seeing yourself and being happy or is so much more important than a number on the scale. Like I don't even have a scale at home. Like I can't remember the last time I weighed myself, but I go to the gym, I feel healthy, I try to look good. Yeah.
It's working for you. That's what you need.
Yeah. But I always tell people, I'm like, stop trying to fucking lose weight. Put more. Yeah.
Then when they lose weight that much, or they go and lose it fast, after they lost the 10 pounds, they lost muscle, they started themselves, their metabolism went down.
Yeah.
So if before they lost the weight, they had to eat 1,500 calories to maintain their weight. Now they have to drop their calories to 1,200, or they're going to put the weight back. And then putting on muscle, you're going to look better. And then you don't really need to diet down, because more muscle means higher metabolism, right? And then your body's burning more at rest. So that's why I encourage people to live and like you said, don't obsess over the scale. And then the reason I also say, like, hey, train for performance, not for looks, because just training for a number of the scale, you don't really have that reason to stick to it. Because whenever you go on a fitness journey, you're going to have high and lows. You're going to progress quick, then you're going to stop progressing. Someday you're going to wake up very sore. You're going to have pains. You might have injuries. If your only reason is I want to hit this number on the scale, you're going to give up at the first difficulty. Once I teach people or try to show them that there's much more to this. So think of longevity, how long you want to live. Think of how well you want to live. Think, do you want to be able to play with your grandkids when you're 70 and 80? Do you want to be able to go on a hike with your friends when you're 85? Do you want to be able to travel on your own at 80 and put your baggage on the overhead bin? Do you want to be able to eat whatever the hell you want without worrying about cholesterol and diabetes? Do you want to live long? Do you want to live well? Right? So once do you want to set the right example for your family? Once you start thinking this way, as soon as you have a difficulty or your plateau, like, hey, remember what you're doing this. And then you have a much better chance of sticking to it than just doing it for this number of the scale. And yeah, we do want to look good, but when you train for performance, for longevity, of course you're going to look good. But your primarily reason and your way of thinking, it's more than just how I look in the mirror or do I fit in this dress for the wedding. It's much more than that, and that's what's going to keep you going, and that's what's going to make you love fitness, knowing that everything you do today, you're improving not only how long you live, but how well you're living in the last decades of your life. And if that's not reason enough for someone to work out, I don't know what would convince them.
I think that's so smart. Like, I feel like for me personally, mobility is really important. So I love my mobility. I go hiking and I rock climb and I ride motorcycles all around. And for me, being fit equals more mobility. And I think that as we get older, mobility gets reduced, and we have to stay fit and stay active and stay flexible in order to keep that mobility longer in life. And for me, this is like my number one goal.
I mean, absolutely. Mobility, you lose it as you age, and then the lower your mobility, or the less mobility you have, the more risk of injury you have. But so does muscle mass, and so does strength. You lose strength every year past the year of 50, and then it's called muscle atrophy. So you start losing muscle your 40s, 50s, and start accelerating more and more. Now, if you have mobility, great, but if you don't have the strengths to stand up, so that's why you need both. And my approach to training, and I love that you mentioned mobility, because I have to fight with my clients to convince them to do mobility and then to stretch. But I always start every single training session, whether they like it or not, with 5 of 10 or to 10 minutes of direct mobility work. Then we would go into our session, and then the session is going to be varied. It's going to include an aspect of strength, aspect of power, speeds, and then hypertrophy to build the muscle. And we're going to end every session with static stretching, either yoga inspired or just stretches. And it's both ways. You don't want to be mobile, but then you don't have the strength to operate the machine. But also you don't want to be strong, but you can't move. And every time you move, you get hurt. So I think they go together. They definitely go very closely together.
So do you have any different philosophy between training women and training men? Because I think men want to be stronger and look stronger and be bigger. I think that's the goal of a lot of men. That's just a stereotype. It might not be the same for every man. But I think like a lot of women, they want to be fit and thin, but not be too muscular.
Yeah.
So do you have a philosophy for this difference?
It's not a philosophy. So I get this a lot. Whenever I get a woman and I get her to lift weight, she points at me like, "Oh, I don't want to be like this." Like, first of all, this didn't happen by accident, getting big.
Yeah.
So if you want to get big, you have to purposely, like, it doesn't happen by accident. You're going to have to eat so much, to train so hard, to train frequently. So lifting weight will not make you bulky unless you're desperately and really hard trying to get bulky hard. And the second thing is we're not built different. We have different hormones, men and women, and men produce much more testosterone than women do. So men have much better ability to grow muscle and bulk up versus women. Also, the women that you see really bulky or like on those bodybuilding shows that people are scared of, it's really hard unless you have insane genetics to get there without the use of PEDs or like performance-enhancing drugs or steroids. So my message to women is don't be scared. You're not going to sleep one day and wake up looking like Ronnie Coleman. On the other, if you're trying to lose weight, you have to lift weights. If you're trying to get healthier, you want to lift weights, so I do trade them the same. Now, maybe for guys, I would do like some guys on the aesthetic side, they want to grow their chests more. For example, women don't really care about this. Women want to grow their glutes more. Some men don't really care about this. So those are the main differences. But when it comes to philosophies and approach to training, it's more or less similar.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that men will respond better to muscle growth than women.
And are you doing like high intensity interval workouts with your?
Yes,
Yeah.
I do it at the end of the workout. I always include like some conditioning or athletic or like high intensity finisher to shoot the heart rate up. I mean, I look at it at a balanced approach. So you have your strength, your heavy lifting that's going to build your strength. You have your hypertrophy that's going to build lean muscle mass. So you have this, but then you have heart health, right? So today I'm sure you're familiar with VO2 max, right? So VO2 max it's how you measure the cardiovascular ability of an athlete. So basically it's how efficiently can your body utilize oxygen.
Yeah, I've done the mass, whether you run on the treadmill. Yeah.
And then VO2 max is the number one predictor of longevity. So you can just look on average on what's your VO2 max, the top 5% of VO2 max versus the lower end of the range, they have like something like a 5 times reduced chance of all-cause mortality. So you want to live long, you got to take care of your heart. You want to live well, you got to lift. So that's why I like both having strong cardiovascular fitness. And this is a mix of high intensity and steady state or aerobic cardio that's going to improve heart health and then increase your lifespan. And then you have the muscle mass and you have the strength is going to increase the quality of life. One doesn't go without, they go really well together. I don't want to only do cardio, lift till I'm 90, but then the last 2 years of my life, I can't shower by myself.
Yeah.
Right. But I also don't want to build muscle. And then if I go up one flight of stairs, I'm out of breath. I think they go really well together.
It's a real gentle mix.
Yes. Yeah. That was hard to convince people to do high intensity. Like most people shy away from cardio, but I still sneak it in their training.
That's good. So how has it been growing your business now that you have a fixed location? I mean, like, how many staff are working for you? Like, how do you find trainers that believe in your philosophy that want to work with you or work at your gym with you? Like, is it hard to find people who are like-minded, who believe in the same philosophy of like holistic fitness and changing people's lives like you do?
It is really hard, and that's a great question, Ryan. So that has been a big challenge of mine. Is a lot of coaches come to the industry just to make money. They don't really care, which is fine if that's what they want. But for me, what made me successful is how much I care for my clients and the value I provide during the sessions. So I have a beautiful gym. I have great equipment, but there's maybe 50 gyms within less than a mile radius that all have more equipment than me, that all are bigger than me, and what bring people to thrive is the service that I provide to them. So trusting someone else to give the service to my clients is difficult. However, what I'm working on at the moment, I'm working on this with our shared contact, Rachel. We're working on building a trainers academy. So I'm working on a program to help coaches. So like you mentioned those programs before, they teach you how to sell and make money. I don't want to teach them how to make money. I just want to teach them how to be a good coach. So it's a program that's going to be a training academy teaching people all the aspects of good coaching, how to conduct a good training session. But for me, at the same time, that's going to be a way to filter. So whenever I see someone like really good, by the end of the program, they would have a job offer with me. So that's going to be, so while they're on the program, it's going to be a 3-month program. I'm going to get to be with them almost on a daily basis. I'm really going to know them. Part of the program is them training my clients while I'm with them. So this is for me the best way to ensure that I get clients that are going to provide really like high value.
So I have a friend of mine, his name is Kurt, and he set up the Dog Pound. I don't know if you know Dog Pound. It's a gym here in West Hollywood. And he's been quite successful, and he got started with Victoria's Secret models in New York. He has a gym in New York and then one here in LA too. And then he got in with some celebrities and some actors and stuff like that. But he really, and I don't know if this is helpful to hear for you or not, but he really said how much of his success was based on his personality of giving back. And that idea of karma and that idea of helping the clients and really being attentive. Yeah. And then having everything just grow from there. And again, he seemed like someone who believed in the universe and the universe provided. And I also see that in you too.
Oh, thank you. I mean, it definitely helps hearing this. And so you always want to hear reaffirmations, right, about that.
Well, I mean, if if people trust you to keep them healthy and to work them out and to get them feeling the way they want to feel and looking the way they want to feel, and you do that on a consistent basis, I mean, that's a dream for everyone. And then that, again, word of mouth, and again, there's nothing better than having someone that trains with you look good, and then everyone asks, "Oh my God, you look great. Who are you working out with?" And they say,
I get most of my clients, like they would go out, then like, you change a lot. How do you do that? I have this trainer. Oh, can I talk with him?
Yeah,
that's the best. Like, it's the most efficient, I think, marketing strategy you can have. Yeah. It's a win-win. Like, you don't have to really worry about how I'm going to market, and you just dedicate yourself to focusing on your craft. Yeah. You want to sell more, become better at your craft. You want more results with the client, so your only focus becomes just how can I become a better coach. You don't have all the other distractions, how to run this ad, how to convince this person to join, how to do the sales pitch. Just focus on your craft. You grow, your clients grow, your business grows.
Nothing attracts more clients like happy clients.
It's true.
So at your Thrive gym, how do people become a member? Do you have to pay a monthly fee? Is it an annual fee? Do you just pay per training session? How does it work?
I love this question because most gyms, most personal trainers, especially what they're doing now, it's a nightmare to cancel. So they either make you sign for a year or for 6 months. A lot of like trainers now, they're doing like 6 months programs. So like you do a consultation, then they sell you 6 months, or some of them have a 2 months cancellation policy. In my case, it's week to week. And then I don't believe in having someone locked in. If they're not happy with me, I don't want them to keep working with me just because of a contract.
Mm-hmm.
And I want them to stay with me because they love the service, not because they signed it. So I make it very easy. It's a membership paid, not weekly, bi-weekly. So if you're, depending on the number of sessions that you want to do a week, I have different packages, but it's just on a bi-weekly basis. You can stop whenever you want.
That's good, actually, because my problem with this was I always paid. So when I was living in Dubai, for example, or when now even here in LA, all the gyms have an annual package, and it's always cheap, right? Yeah. But my problem is like I travel a ton. So like this in October, I'm going to go to Argentina for 2 months to film. So it's like, why would I sign up for a 6-month program in June or July, and then I'm going to be gone in October and November for 2 months?
This is what they want.
Yeah.
And that's how they build their business models, especially bigger gyms. they count on each of them in their business model. They have a percentage of people who are going to have a membership and not show up. And they actually do this to sell more membership than the capacity. If all the people who have memberships in those gyms show up, no one will fit. They rely on people like you. And that's one thing I really don't like in the fitness industry. And then otherwise, for me, it makes me question the service. Like, why is he forcing me? What if I want to start? What if I'm not happy after a month? So just don't have them committed, have them be relaxed, and then provide a good service, and they're going to stay. If they don't want to stay, I don't want to work with him anyways, because it's going to drain my energy. It's going to ruin. He's not going to talk well about me. If he's not happy, it's going to hurt me. So why I want to force him?
Yeah, it's true. But a lot of these big fitness centers, like they're just big companies, right? They're faceless. They don't have a personality.
They're just sell. They don't care about your results. You just sell them.
No.
They have like in the industry, like the churn. It's very high. Like in the fitness, like you lose. Usually it's 10 to 30% lost clients every month, and then that's why they focus so much on sales. I'm blessed that since I started, I've had like 0% churn, and just because I'm focused on this, like I don't even have them commit, but they see this, they see the value, and they stick with me on the long run.
Okay. So when someone comes to Thrive to your gym, like what kind of experience are they going to get when they walk through the door? Walk me, like what's the energy like there? Is it loud music? Is there lots of TV screens showing people working out? Like I haven't been, I'm sorry, but what's the vibe?
The vibe is, so it's all black and black mats, neon lights on the wall. So you go in, it makes you want to train hard. It has a luxurious boutique feel, as if it's only one-on-one. I don't sell memberships, so you only come by appointment. So you walk in, it's a 1,600 square foot gym just for yourself. It's very clean, but it's black. I have a black turf, white lines, neon lights on the walls, white neon lights on the ceiling. So you walk in.
It sounds like a Beirut nightclub I went to once.
Like BO18.
No, I'm just joking.
Because there's a nightclub in Beirut called BO18 that's very, very similar. And like seeing how you live, if you go to Lebanon, you would definitely have gone there. And yeah, so yeah, it's industrial, yet modern, minimalistic, and just performance oriented. Like you go in, you want to train. Like that's what the answer. I guess when they walk in, shit, I'm pumped up to train. And
that's good.
In terms of music, lighting, it's not that I have loud music, so I'm all about personalization. So like if you remember, like part of our consultation, I'll find out what type of music you like, how you like the lighting, because I have the different settings for the lights. What scents do you like? And then everything customized for you. You walk in for the session, it's the playlist of your type of music that you like, the lighting the way you like it, the temperature the way you want it, and then the all diffusers at the scent that you want. So I personalize a lot.
That's awesome. I love loud music at the gym because if there's no music, I can actually hear the pain. So the music drowns out the pain for me. Yeah, in my own head. Anything that just gets the blood, anything that just gets the energy up. Just loud, but some good beats. The gym I go to is just a block away from here, and like they do a pretty good job of keeping it pretty busy, and they got good staff and stuff like that. So I'm super happy. But for me, it was always really important to have things local, and that's why I live here, is because I can walk everywhere. So it's like living in LA, but I don't have to drive. So I feel quite lucky. I save
without the main disadvantage of LA.
Yeah, that was done on purpose.
Yes.
I thought like if I'm gonna move to LA, I gotta have a place that's like very, yeah. So lucky enough. So is there anything else about Thrive or yourself that we haven't talked about that you wanted to mention?
I think you did an excellent job of covering it. Oh, I didn't know I could talk that much, but you made me without feeling. So thank you. I can't think of anything at the moment.
Okay. And where can people find, what's the URL for the gym, and where can people find you on social media?
The gym's website is www.gothrive.fitness. And then I have my personal Instagram that I use to post my personal training journey, fitness journey, along with tips that I share. And this is JK for Joe Khechef _wellness and performance. And then I have the Instagram of the gym. I post like really fun workouts. It's very inspiring. So everybody who watches it, like I wanted to get feedback, like, oh, like the workout looks so fun, can't wait to work out. So this Instagram page is called Go Thrive Fitness in one word. And
well, that's great. So I'll make sure I put the URL and I'll tag you on all the social medias so people can find you and learn about you and the amazing work you're doing.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for your time.
No worries. You're an inspiration. I love the energy. Like, again, when it's so great to have a coach, a fitness coach, life coach, business coach, whatever, that just brings the energy, you know, and brings positive energy. And you only get that when you do something you love. So it's impossible to fake.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I'm very happy that you even see this, because most of my clients worked with me for a while. So after a few months of working together, they don't really need me for the fitness part. Like, by now, they know how to build a program, they know how to execute any exercise, but they stay for the energy, they stay for the motivation, they stay for the encouragement. And I think that's really important. Not only they stay with me, but they stick to their fitness. That's helped them even stick to their fitness journey as well. And
for me, it's trust. Like, I love the trust I build with my coaches because for me, my day is a mess. Like, I'm trying to raise money. I'm trying to plan a TV show. I'm doing a podcast with someone like yourself, very interesting. And for me, when I go to the gym, I need to turn off my brain for an hour and just have someone tell me what to do and just do it without even hesitating or thinking.
And without making decisions. You want to minimize how many decisions you make, basically. And decisions drain you. You must make so many decisions at the day.
Yeah.
You want to go to the gym, even if you can even check online, but you don't want to make decisions.
No. I mean, my brother, so I always joke with my brother. My brother has a huge gym or a nice gym in his basement. So he set up a home gym during COVID, right? Okay. And he loves training by himself. He puts on the music and he knows exactly what to do and all this, but I can't. Like, I love having someone there. I love minimizing my decisions. I love just giving my mind and my body over to someone else who's professional, who will then just work me as hard as I can for an hour, and I don't have to think about it at all. I just have to do it.
That's amazing. I love it. And it works. Even, like, I'm a personal trainer and, like, entrepreneur at the same time, so my job is exhausting. I have a fitness coach.
Mm-hmm.
I have a fitness coach just to push me. And then sometimes I write people training programs for a living. When it comes to mine, I'm like, I just don't want it, thanks. I just hit my coach like, hey, can you give me a new program? And then
yeah, yours the exact same. I think entrepreneurs in life, when they do physical things and all this kind of stuff, they want to really outsource it so they can have a free mind.
Yes,
yeah,
exactly.
Well, that's great, man. Thank you so much for swinging by. I love what you're doing. I wish you all the best with your Thrive Gym. And I'll make sure that, you know, this gets out and we'll have all the websites, tags, all the URL, all there.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
No
We're
worries.
still going to do a workout together and maybe a bike ride together.
There we go, for sure. But look, we can go up here and you can see, we go to the split screen and everyone can see now we're in the same room.
Oh.
So it's very nice to meet you. Yeah. No Zoom calls.
No Zoom calls. Perfect.
And we're done. That's it.